Kind of a rough day for a lot of the Tesla company today, and we don't have all the answers. If you do not like speculation, do not watch this video. In fact, don't watch this channel, because speculation is kind of everything we do here. But basically, two of Tesla's top executives retired at about the same time, which I think is kind of odd and a little bit hard to believe that it's just pure coincidence. There's definitely some kind of cutback going on, because Elon sent out an email to everybody at the company saying that in order to stay lean and agile during this transitionary period to Tesla's next big growth phase, they're going to be laying off around 10% of the company. And sadly, I've been hearing a lot of employees are not getting much notice or much severance and that kind of thing. And I wonder if this ties into some of the big executives stepping down as well. Rohan Patel, who had been at Tesla for about 8 years, stepped down, saying that he's just mainly going to spend more time with his family. And he was definitely very vocal and basically the closest thing we had to a Tesla PR team on Twitter, and was happy to answer so many people's questions. He was doing a fantastic job. There was really no reason, in my opinion, for him to step down aside from family matters. But is it also just a little bit weird that Drew Baglino would reach that exact same conclusion on the exact same day? But yeah, also Drew Baglino is stepping down from Tesla as well. And this one really hurt, not just because we share the same first name, but also because he was the guy I was rooting for so long that he should take over Tesla, because I felt like Tesla's mission statement had for the most part been achieved. They have accelerated the world's transition to sustainable energy, and I mainly just wanted Elon to focus more on his existing companies outside of Tesla. The mission statement of SpaceX has not been achieved. Life has not been made multiplanetary, and I think SpaceX could really need more of Elon's accelerator mindset, and of course running Twitter, running XAI, running Neuralink, running the Boring Company. All of those things I don't think are small tasks and really could use a lot more of Elon's time and attention, whereas Tesla was the one company that I just felt like didn't really need more attention from Elon. They were doing just fine, and I think probably a lot of the time they are doing just fine without Elon, because he's so busy, he's got so many other projects to work on. And I thought for a multi-hundred-billion-dollar company, potentially $1 trillion brand, we should have a CEO that's kind of all hands on deck, that works just at that one company and doesn't have to worry about getting distracted by what's going on at Twitter, what's going on at XAI, what's going on at Neuralink, what's going on at SpaceX. All of these are big, major corporations that I think need a lot of attention, and unfortunately, no matter how capable you think Elon is, he's ultimately just one man, and one man can only do so much within a single week. That's why, you know, I think the true sign of a leader is someone who's able to assemble a great team that is capable of, you know, replacing and filling in the responsibility of themselves. I basically looked at Drew Baglino as Apple's Tim Cook. Not necessarily the founder, not the guy who got the company off the ground, but the guy who could maintain the company, because Baglino was in charge of Tesla's battery production and the supercharger network, which in my opinion are two of like the greatest strengths at Tesla. Their battery pack manufacturing and battery management system and the supercharger network, by far, in my opinion, are the greatest advantages of Tesla as a whole. Without that supercharger network, electrification and EVs would not be where they are today. That's why the supercharger network is having to do so much of the heavy lifting for all of the non-Teslas out there, because no other charging network has done what Tesla's has. And I credit most, if not all of that, to Drew Baglino's leadership. And he's been at the company for like 18 years now. He goes way back, and I think he would have been a perfect role to kind of oversee the whole brand and operations, while Elon could go off and focus more on difficult challenges like SpaceX and Neuralink, which are not easy companies to run, I'm sure. So it's a bit hard to see him step down, although they are still presenting a unified front. He's saying thank you to Elon for always challenging us, and again that Drew's gonna focus just more on being with his family, which I'm not against by any means, but just the timing of this, with the layoffs and multiple executives retiring, even as a Tesla shareholder, again, I'm not selling any shares, but I'm also not buying any shares. I just personally think it's hard to believe there's not some kind of correlation here, and maybe there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes that we're not hearing. Of course, we'll never know for sure. That's where the speculation comes in, but I have to wonder if people are not quite agreeing on what direction the company should go in. I definitely think Tesla's a little bit at a turning point where Elon and maybe a lot of Tesla's software team is under the belief that they don't need to focus more on trying to sell more cars. With the Model Y prices going up and inventory levels still climbing, I think Elon is doubling down on, no, we are a software and AI robotics company. Our future is going to be robo-taxis and and that's why he wants to unveil it this August, not that far away, and Elon probably wants to double down on Tesla bot development and start bringing in revenue from their humanoid robot program. You know, Elon likes a challenge. He loves when the odds are against him and everyone's telling him he's wrong. He kind of is addicted to startup companies. I feel like Elon is the kind of guy that's not too much into, you know, kind of boring, repetitive, let's just keep the company afloat. He needs to constantly be on the brink of the next big thing. He has to be figuring out what's going to create an order of magnitude more wealth, and that's what excites him when it comes to, you know, SpaceX with the Starship development. Falcon 9 is pretty cool, but he's more interested in how do we, like, make Falcon 9 useless by making a far more reusable, far more practical rocket that can go to Mars and beyond and be fully reusable, both first stage and second stage, and same thing with Neuralink. He's not interested in getting into smartphones and smart watches. He's trying to figure out how to get electronics and computers built into our brains so we don't even have to use a touchscreen or fumble around with a little projector on our hand. He just wants these big picture, like, dramatic rethinkings of technology, and selling cheaper and cheaper electric cars to him is just not exciting. He wants to go down the path of vehicles that we don't have to sell. We can own them and operate them, but they just drive people around, and they'll be so cheap to ride around in that people will just stop owning cars because the robotaxis are gonna just be so dang affordable. I think that's where Elon and probably some of the Tesla board wants to go in, but Drew Baglino and maybe Rohan, we don't know, are kind of the belief that, well, Elon, we don't really know if we can get a robotaxi to be safe enough or approved by regulators to actually pivot this company into more of a robotaxi AI business. You're kind of assuming a lot with the software development, and maybe those guys were hoping more to double down on doing cheaper cars and selling a $25,000 car, because we're still hearing reports from Reuters and Electric claiming that Tesla is not necessarily canceling the $25K car, but pushing it off in favor of prioritizing the robotaxi first. If I were to bet from an outside perspective, I think that's kind of the split that's going on at the company. Some people are more of the belief that we need to just focus on making more affordable individual-owned cars, and Elon's looking for the quicker path for sustainability. Let's make one robotaxi that can replace 5 people's personally owned vehicles rather than just trying to sell them a slightly cheaper EV. There's definitely evidence of this back and forth in the Elon Musk biography that Walter Isaacson wrote. There's certainly been a lot of documented cases where Elon is not excited by Tesla making their own Corolla, but he is excited for a more robotaxi future. And because interest rates are still pretty high on vehicles and they're not seeing the same demand that they used to in the same wait times for their best-selling vehicles like the Model Y, I think Elon might be getting more to the point of, well, we don't really need to sell cars. That's not really our main focus because the car business will never really be that profitable, even if we do make a $20,000 Tesla, where the real money is just cracking that robotaxi code. But even if he's right, I'm still gonna miss Drew Baglino. You know, basically all of Tesla Battery Day was mostly presented by Drew, and a lot of Tesla Investor Day was mainly presented by Drew as well. I think he just had such a much better stage presence. He was so great at articulating Tesla's goals and their mission. And you know, Elon, he's a smart guy, but sometimes he starts like 3 sentences before he can finish one. I think he's thinking faster than he can speak, and he's just, again, a very busy guy. And I think Tesla's a big enough brand with so many things going on. We need a CEO, we need a leader at that company that can give all their time and attention just to Tesla and let Elon go focus on his other projects that haven't achieved their mission statement. Especially on earnings calls and shareholder meetings, it usually felt like Elon would get a little bit distracted on some way off future topic, but Drew Baglino was very good at being concise and clear and boiling complicated subjects down to be easy to understand. He was in charge of the 4680 ramp up, which at least appears to be going somewhat well. I mean, it didn't live up to a lot of the hype that Battery Day originally promised, but they've increased the energy density with the Cyber cells in the Cybertruck, and they're building over 1,000 Cybertrucks worth of cells a week, and that ramp is continuing. So just in the middle of this whole ramp up stage where at the Cybertruck launch we heard Drew Baglino talk a lot about internal goals of hitting 500 miles of range of the Cybertruck and talk about the range extender and future plans they have for increasing energy cell density. It feels weird to hear Drew in the past talk about all of these plans long-term for Tesla, only for him to retire kind of right in the middle of a potential another big growth spurt. So to be honest, I'm a little bit bummed out by some of these guys leaving. I hope they're able to focus more on their families and spend lots of time with them, but their roles still need to exist. So whoever fills the shoes that Drew Baglino and Rohan are leaving behind, I think we're gonna have a hard time finding someone as talented and as intelligent and someone who has as much experience with Tesla and battery manufacturing or the supercharger network as these guys did. Very, very sorry to hear about a lot of the Tesla employees that are getting laid off without much notice and without much severance. These are pretty difficult times for a lot of the industry and the economy, and I hope you're able to land on your feet and find another place to work that hopefully can appreciate you a little bit more than Tesla did. What do you guys think? Am I wrong in my speculations? Am I overthinking these things? Am I wrong to take this as bad news? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos, so thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.